Good morning, and welcome to the 42nd Mill Valley Film Festival. My name is Joanne Parson. I am the Director of Education for the California Film Institute. We are the organization that runs the Mill Valley Film Festival. We also own this theater. I have the great fortune of running our education programs year-round, but I also have the great pleasure of programming all the family films at the festival, and I could not be more excited about today's world premiere of Team Marco. This is awesome. First and foremost, I'd like to thank the sponsor for today's screening, Pizza Antica. And yeah, huge round of applause. So our sponsors are huge to the festival. For those of you not familiar with festival, how they run, we only make a little bit off of those tickets you buy, and a lot of it comes from the incredible support of our sponsors, so we're really grateful to them. I also want to thank our community partner for this screening, Cinema Italia. Huge round of applause for them. You might detect a little theme there. If you're not familiar enough with what you're about to see, there's a few Italians on screen. I'm also originally from New York, from a very Italian town, so this film resonated very much for me from that respect, and I believe there's also a few Italians in the audience today. Shout out to all of you. This really is an incredibly special film and special day for this film. This is actually the feature film debut also of director Julio Vincent Gambuto. So this is a really incredible experience. There are a lot of Gambutos and many others in the audience here to celebrate for that, and we welcome all of you, and I'm so thrilled that many of you came from Staten Island, where this film was shot. But one of the things that's really incredible about this film, I've been programming family films for Mill Valley for many, many years, and it is very, very unusual to see a film like this that's made independently in the U.S., a family feature that's funny, that's dramatic, that hits all the notes, that's just really great. They're just unusual to begin with. If it's not made by Disney or Pixar or DreamWorks, like a lot of other people don't make the effort to make family films the way that Julio has. And it's a really special thing when it shows up in our submissions. I watched it and immediately was just blown away and wanted to share it with as many people as we possibly could. So I'm thrilled that there are as many of you here today to share with that, because this doesn't happen every day. It's what Julio has decided to do, and the kind of films he's decided to make is really, really special, and we need more of those. Like I said, I do this a lot, and I know you guys, I'm sure, go to the multiplex and see a lot of films, but there's so much heart in this movie. And I saw it all also last night when I was at a party with a lot of the people who are in this room. There's so much heart that went into the making of this movie, and you could feel it in how the community supported the making of this film. So I'm really thrilled that you guys are going to get a chance to experience what I've experienced and to see it on a big screen, because I actually only got to watch it on my computer. I'm realizing I've never seen it on the screen. So this is remarkable. This is literally the first time you're going to, a public audience has seen it on a big screen. So we are so grateful we have so many guests, as I said, but I would love to, bring Julio up just to say a few words before we get started on this very big occasion.
Thank you, Joanne. Thank you to you and to the Mill Valley Film Festival. There is no other place that we would rather be showing this movie for our first public audience. I'm incredibly proud of the work of our team. We have many of our crew here, many department heads. We have many of our talent. You'll get to meet some of them later. Our producers. We have many investors here who, a year and a half ago, I said, hey, give me your money so I can make a movie. And they went on this journey with us, and I can't say thank you enough. It's been a real privilege. So we made a movie about family, for families, with my family in tow. We made a movie for multiple generations, and you'll see many people, young and old, in the film. And I'm very, very proud of it, and I can't wait for you to see it in a few minutes.
Cool. So stick around. We'll be back for Q&A, as you said, with several special guests. Enjoy the movie. I do. Please welcome back director Julio Vincent Gambuto.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. We're going to call to the stage a few people for the Q&A. If you can join me, our executive producer, one who led with the creative team and represented 7 or 8 other executive producers and over 268 investors, Andrew Scrivani. My co-writer and our screenwriter on the project, a friend of mine since the 6th grade, Barack Ozoon. Sam Sanweiss, our producer, is a good colleague and friend from USC, Sam Sanweiss. And we have 2 of our stars here, and I'm proud to introduce you to Anthony Patelis, Nono. And the gorgeous Anastasia. Gonna ask Ellen, join us, please. There are also a number of people in the room who worked on the film, as you can see by the credits, which is its own short film, that there were over 500 people involved in the making of the movie. Many of them are here. So if you worked on the film, especially my sister Marissa, my parents, my family, who were all worked on the set, as well as all of our other crew members who are here, our cinematographer, Powell Robinson, where are you? Hi. So you can stand and say hi. Our editor, Nick Wright. Nick, where are you? Nick actually grew up in this neighborhood and used to take tickets at the front of this theater as a kid. If you worked on the film, please stand. Thank you, everyone.
Do you want to give Skylar?
Yes. Is Miss Skylar Lipkin here? Where's Skylar? Skylar, you want to say hi? Skylar played Sarah.
So,
Hi.
hi. So, there's obviously a bit of background to this that came from your own family.
Yes.
I'm just guessing, except I know. But tell us a little bit about the origin of this story and the connection to your family and how you knew that this was the kind of story you wanted to tell.
Sure. I have a nephew named Marco. He's very proud that he has a movie named after him, and he tells all of his friends how cool he is. And he's 9 years old, and he doesn't get off his iPad, and he spends all of his time on his iPad and with video games. And I walked into the house one day, and he didn't say hello. And that's kind of a cardinal sin in our family. And I just suddenly became my grandfather. It's like, get off the damn thing and get over here and give me a kiss. And the idea was born there. And I grew up with, I was very lucky that I grew up with my 4 grandparents alive during my whole childhood. And I'm named for both of my grandfathers. And they're wonderful human beings, and I wish I had more time with all of them. And my grandmother is 94 now. She's the only one who's left. She's the woman in the vintage film reels. Yeah. So, yeah, it's really cool. And my grandfather left me a basket full of about 40 or 50  8mm reels, and we set them up at the house one night and watched them. And my grandmother just sort of danced across the screen in her bathing suit. And we knew we had to put it in. So
It's one of the things that makes it so special, knowing that that's authentic. Can maybe each of you guys talk a little bit about how you got connected to the project and how you knew it was a project you wanted to be part of with?
Sure. Julio and I go back to when we were both educators at a small school called
Staten Island Academy.
it's a running joke now that but we kind of connected creatively. I'm a photographer by trade, and Julio was doing graphic design, and we kind of started to work together and became friends. And then I went off and became a photographer full-time professionally, and he went to film school. And then when he came back to New York, he reached out to me and a lot of his friends in the creative community to just sort of run the idea of Borough 5 past us, and whether or not we want to either just give him some advice or have some creative input or maybe get involved. And eventually I decided to throw my hat in the ring as an investor with my family. And then I saw it as an opportunity to kind of get involved creatively as well. And Julio was gracious enough to want as much input as I was willing to put in. And of course, this project being close to home as a Staten Islander and close to home as a New Yorker and as an Italian American, there's so much parallel between our lives and our friendship and all of the things that the authenticity of what we were trying to bring to the screen was something that we talked about every single day and something we lived every single day. So when we were, it just became sort of ingrained in what I was going to be doing probably for the rest of my life, and that is a testament to being friends with this man and being a creative partner of his, and this is overwhelming. So.
Before we were writing partners, Julio actually kind of taught me the whole craft of screenwriting years ago. So then he's a great jungle guide, and I might owe USC Film School money for a couple of credits I got over the phone secondhand. But so he was my mentor and jungle guide and teacher for a long time before I was invited to be a writing partner, which I feel so lucky to be able to do. So I love the story, and it was really great to just put so much of myself into it and really work to make it at the highest level. And I've had faith since the beginning. Julio said this would happen just like this years ago. So here we are.
Welcome
just
to
like
the
it was
Q&A.
planned. Yep, absolutely.
I actually met Julio at film school. He was my TA. So this is a good lesson. Be nice to your TAs, because it could play out well for you. And one day, right, we sat down to get lunch, and I was producing my first feature film, and I was actually there. I was going to try and convince him to work on my film. And I started to talk. I said, no, we're here to talk about my film. I want you to come work on it. Can you move to New York in a year or two, and let's do this? And I was like, sure, let's do it. And here I am.
Sam moved to Staten Island in like 3 feet of snow. He's from Tucson.
Yeah, all this white stuff falls from the sky. It was really confusing.
Anastasia, do you want to add how you first came onto the project and
I
got
was
cast?
actually auditioning for another project. I had just had a baby, and I was not even thinking about auditioning. And my manager called and said, we have this audition, put yourself on tape. It's for someone in casting that wants to see you in LA. And I was really, in a post-baby brain saying, I don't want to go in for this. My husband said, just go put yourself on tape. It could be a nice opportunity. And was it Megan Rafferty that was casting out of the New York office? And I went in like, I only have 10 minutes. The baby's at the house. Like, let's get this going. And she said,
It was the best audition ever because of it.
But the casting director said, well, you're not right for this, but there's this other movie. It's called T. Marco, and I think you'd be perfect. And I read the script, and I'll never forget. I was in the middle of a little cafe in Manhattan, and I was taken. I was very moved by the writing. It spoke very much to me. I'm first generation Greek American, and the story is very similar to my own in many ways. So I was thrilled to be playing a part like this, because I was telling Julio the other day, I've never been given such an opportunity, I think, in my entire career. My costume has always fit in the palm of my hand. And so, really, this was the first time I felt that someone had given me an opportunity that wasn't directly related to the way I looked or type. And for me, that's just been a huge, profound shift. So I'm very grateful for that.
Well, I think the mom jeans did scare you, though, a little bit.
Terrified to play mom for the first time in Hollywood. That was a scary thing, because you're so vulnerable and you're not hiding behind the stuff, the makeup, the hair, like the glamour of it all. I turned to Jules and I said, I thought I really wanted this, but this is so scary. Like, what? And thanks to Powell, who made every scene look so pretty, and Jules, I was just able to get through that part, that ego, when the ego started to talk, right?
It was really a beautiful process because of it.
Thank you.
And Tony?
Well, since you confessed, I'm going to confess as well that, I'm actually a Greek American from Gary, Indiana. you know, but I'm happy to be up here. But I married a Staten Islander. My road here was interesting and kind of tough because my agent in New York had apparently put me up for this film, and the casting director rejected me. So said I was too young. Thank you so much. And but then I guess as time went on, they decided to see me anyway. And I came in, and I was actually on my way to dinner in Brooklyn, so I was a little annoyed that I was going to an audition that I couldn't possibly get. And turned out well for me. And I thank you so much, this panel up here, for bringing me on board. It's kind of the experience of my career so far, and I'm just so pleased to have been up on that screen and to listen to the reactions of the people here, and thank you so much for being here. So that's really it.
So we have time for just a few questions from the audience. We have mic runners, so that if you have a question, raise your hand, and we'll have a mic come run to you so everyone can hear your question.
Raise your hand, and we'll get you the mic right over here.
Thank you.
Do any of you, or have any of you ever played bocce?
Have any of you actually, do any of you play, or have you ever played bocce?
We play a lot of bocce now. I actually grew up with my grandparents playing a lot of cards, but I thought cards are not that fun of a movie. But bocce is a really sort of part of the social fabric on Staten Island. You know, other cities and places around the country have golf and tennis outings. We have golf, tennis, and bocce outings. There are restaurants on the island that have bocce courts in them. It's become really built into the DNA of the island. And so, being back on the island in the last few years, I've obviously, gotten very involved in the bocce community. Funny enough, the Staten Island Bocce Club, 3 of their members are in the film, and they play the sort of non-speaking bocce guys. And they were incredible to us. I mean, they were at the court every morning, sweeping it and cleaning it and making sure it was movie ready. And we couldn't have done it without them.
Don't forget making those shots.
Oh, yes, the trick shots. Well, funny enough that the sort of final My Sister's Teeth shot, we needed it to land well, not the one you didn't see, but the one before that. And we needed it to land a certain way, so we budgeted I think a full day, or 3 hours for that one shot or something like that. And they made it on the first shot. And we were never ahead of schedule again.
Well, and to just bring the bocce around to here, I don't know how many of you know there are bocce courts right down the street here in San Rafael at the Marin Bocce Federation. So if this inspired you, I encourage you to go there and play some bocce because they have a lot of courts and it's awesome. Other questions? Yes, right here.
Can you tell us about Marco and how he got involved?
You mean Owen?
Owen,
the actor?
sure. Funny enough, my sister came to me about a year and a half ago, or about 6 months before we were casting, and said, "You've got to get this kid, Owen Vaccaro." And I said, "Who is he?" And she said, "Everyone in my school knows him. All the moms know who he is." And we went into casting, and truth be told, I sort of put a pin in it. And then we were down the casting road very far, and I wasn't happy with what we were coming up with. And my sister said, "Did you really not call his agent?" And I said, "I really didn't." And she said, "You better pick up the phone and call his agent." And I did, and the whole thing was done in 5 days. And his parents read it. He happens to come from an Italian-American family in Atlanta. They read the script, they fell in love with it, and they made it happen. And they were on Staten Island a week later shooting the movie. So it was pretty incredible how it all worked. He's a wonderful actor. He's a wonderful kid. He had a lot of fun doing the movie. He is shooting another movie for Netflix right now, which is why he's not here. And he's off in Hawaii, which is a hard life for a 12-year-old.
All right, we have time for one more question. Someone in this whole audience has a yes.
How could we get a copy of this movie so we could show it at our grandchild's school?
Well, I'll answer the first part, and then you can kind of go from there. So as I mentioned at the beginning, I also run all the education programs for CFI. So Julio is spending a lot of time this week in schools, meeting kids and showing films in their school, and we also have several hundred kids that are coming to the theater to see the film at 3 different screenings throughout the course of the week. So maybe talk to me depending on what school your kids go to. That's something that potentially could still be arranged, or in the future, of course, I would show this movie to anyone at any time. So I'm sure that Julio and I will continue that talk. But maybe you want to talk about where you're heading with the film from here.
Sure, we're working on distribution right now, so we are in the thick of it, and we hope to report back to Los Angeles that I hope you enjoyed it. So we'll let you know soon.
So we have another huge show coming in right after this one. We have a really tight turnaround. So do you want to say a little bit of what's on the way out?
Sure, just a few things. Just a reminder about the audience ballots that are happening.
Don't forget to vote.
And secondly, any of the children in the room, we have a special gift for you on the way out. So there'll be some volunteers at the doors handing them out for you. Thanks for being here. Help us spread the word if you can. And anyone who's here from my party and our group, we're going to do a group photo. If you could meet outside, Stevie will direct you on the street to where we're going to do our photo. And on behalf of all of us, thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you guys.